Okay, it's recording, so be careful what you say.
All right, it is 6 o'clock on Monday, April 29th, 2024 in the town of Lee. Call the meeting to order. Open with public comment. Please limit your comment to 3 minutes and address the board. Make sure you state your name and address. Any takers tonight? Okay, appointments. Mr. Bullock.
In walking on the library roof and then talking with the Milestone kid, and looking at it, some parts of the roof have 3 layers of shingles already on them, some have 2, so it's not all exactly the same. It's not in very good shape. So I asked the people that did the roof here if they would run over and give me a price to do that roof, figuring they were already the low bidder, so I just asked, and they came back with the price of $19,580 to do the roof. So I'm coming before you to ask if we can do that roof, pay for it out of the building maintenance capital reserve fund.
So I had a question. The proposal says they're tearing up 1 layer of existing roof. They
didn't go up, they haven't been on it.
Okay.
It doesn't matter between 1 and 2 layers.
It's all coming off.
It all would come off.
Okay.
And the other thing about this one, compared to the others, they wrote $85 for a piece of plywood. They're gonna honor the price that they quoted for this roof at $60.
Okay.
That was the big thing that I saw looking at it. And
This is the motion request, should you choose to make it.
Okay.
but everything would be exactly the same as here, same color. Everything's the same. I didn't change anything. And they did a pretty good job here, so.
What's the length of the, it says 10-year warranty or work?
That's their warranty, so if the roof shingle warranty is longer than that, there's a 10-year workmanship where they have to come back and fix it if it's because they screwed up.
So what's the warranty on the shingles themselves? 30s?
35s, and then 25-year algae.
Can I say, the library is in charge of that particular building. Why are we doing the thing on this? What can you explain?
Actually, if I can jump in, yes, and I need to talk more about this under legal with you, but I did get a council opinion on this, and she said that actually government buildings should be fully under the auspices of the select board, including interior renovations, which was okay in this instance, because the library trustees had given me the Milestone contract well before they started, and I had town council review it, and I had Primex review it, and I had talked to Deborah Shanda about that, and we had made some corrections in the language that Primex wanted, but that is one thing that town council advised me to talk to you about this evening, and some of it is privileged, so I need to talk to you in non-public, but
Which goes against the RSA that says,
she's fairly confident that the RSA puts the select board firmly in charge of any town buildings and town property. And told me that she had actually been to court on the matter multiple times. And
can she cite case law?
she did not cite case law, although I did not bring the formal legal opinion. I can forward that to you so you can look at it.
Okay.
You could take the funding from wherever you can get it, but ultimately, this board should be making the decisions and signing any contract about what happens to the building.
I was always under the impression it was a town building, so we maintain it. I mean, we've been doing everything else to it, so, other than the renovation they're doing.
All right, I do have one last question. The roof will be hurricane nailed. What does that mean?
Certain length of nails.
So they're longer? Or
Yeah, and then it's a certain amount GAF wants you to do it a certain way, but there's a certain amount of nails per
Oh, okay,
sheet too.
okay, thanks. Thanks, Steve.
All right, Mr. Evan is
John Tappan, 187 Stepping Stones Road. My comments may be almost moot because of the new information I just heard. But we're now 2 months and 2 days from the start of fiscal year 2025. And the information provided to the CIP committee by the library trustees plans were in fiscal year 2026, library accessibility improvements, entrance vestibule and ramp. Fiscal year 2027, a building addition. Fiscal year 2028, roof replacement and solar installation. Yes, 6 months ago, the roof replacement was scheduled for fiscal year 2028. I don't know what changed, but this may be why it's much better to have the select board having the full responsibility for the town buildings. All the vestibule designs that the library trustees seem to accept show a vestibule roof that intersects with the existing roof and covers some of the existing roof and creates at least one additional valley. Early versions of the addition were an extension of the 1996 addition, same width, same roof planes. This called for replacing some siding and re-roofing almost all of the 1996 addition. The reduced upfront cost version was a little narrower and a little lower, so that the siding and roofing did not have to be replaced. This design reduced the addition size. It added 2 outside corners, 2 inside corners to the exterior wall, required step flashing where the new roof planes meet the existing gable end. So this reduced upfront cost design was suboptimal because it's smaller and yet it increases future maintenance costs, something that I'm sure that you will be quite concerned about. I don't know what solar installation was planned, but it seems to be on the roof because it was listed as one project. To recap, year 1, town replaces the roof. 6 months ago, the plans were library trustees in year 2 build a vestibule which disturbs a part of the new roof that you would have just put on and requires a small additional roof. In year 3, the library trustees' additional plan is suboptimal because they didn't want to disturb the roof. And then in year 4, solar installation plan, which could be to add solar panels to the roof, which may or may not have been prepared to accept them. Conclusion. Have all the library plans changed? And maybe, in fact, from this new information they have. Or, obviously, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. I'm very encouraged by the new information, and I think that having a single body in charge of the building would be a much better plan than having one body that makes plans for additions and changes, while a different body, you, are responsible for the maintenance. Thank you.
All right, any other comments?
Could we table this until we hear what Andy has to tell us in non-public, please?
I have no problem with that. Okay. We need to vote, or just table it? Okay.
Yep.
Bring it back. Regular business.
Okay, I have very little regular business, but one thing I did want to bring up before we got too close to budget season is the ABC membership. Right now, as the ABC membership stands, we have 2 select board members on the board, and we have an ex officio select board member. And I had included with the agenda just some of the original language about the formation of the budget committee was that it should consist of 6 at-large members and 1 selectman's representative. I wanted to bring that to the board's attention and potentially the ABC's attention. What should happen is at least one of the select board members should step down, and the budget committee should appoint members to fill their roster. But I'm not sure who's going to be taking a leadership role in the budget committee, so I thought I would bring it to your attention before we got to the fall, which will show up rapidly, and go from there.
Is there anyone even to appoint? Is there a,
Typically, you would ask for interested parties, and the budget committee would consider them.
Can you check who that is? Because I thought it was the moderator appoint somebody.
I did check the RSA, and when you create the budget committee, the moderator appoints people initially until you get to the first election cycle.
Okay.
But after that, for the Conservation Commission, I believe the Planning Board, and the Budget Committee, the members would appoint someone to serve until the next election,
Thanks.
if you can find people interested. Maybe a challenge in and of itself, but
Thank you
is
for
it a
that
select
caveat.
board rep?
Well, Mr. Oakby has previously been the select board rep.
Okay, yeah.
and I think you did
Off
appoint,
and all come.
you did agree that Mr. Bugby would be the select board rep at your organizational meeting back in March. The other item I had, minor, and it's probably going to involve some housekeeping. I haven't gotten the final word yet, but Mr. Tappan had suggested an edit to the 232 form that's in tonight's consent agenda. I made the edit, but in order to make the edit, I had to call DRA and get them to release the 232. Once I finalize the form, it locks. They were happy to do that, said that, no problem, moving that line to the capital reserve funding line from the capital project line. Catherine called me back shortly thereafter and said, I've been meaning to talk to you about this. She said, we have no record of the highway equipment capital reserve fund ever being established. And I said, that's ludicrous. We've been putting money in the highway equipment capital reserve fund for 40-something years at least. And she said, great, could you do some research and let me know when the enabling establishing warrant article was passed. So I found a warrant article in 1977. I'd also reached out to Mr. Tappan, who affirmed that in 1977, warrant article 8 created that article. I sent it to her. She and the assistant director reviewed it and replied to me and said, no, that warrant article just took excess money from the Snell Bridge project and moved it to a capital reserve fund, but you never established a capital reserve fund, so you've been funding a non-existing capital reserve fund since 1977, and you need to correct that. So I asked her what the correction was, and she said it's typically a housekeeping matter, but you really should put an enabling warrant article. She was going to get me some language because I wasn't quite sure how you would word that to go back 40-something years.
So it would be in March 2025?
Yes, but just if you hear any scuttlebutt about that, I did share that opinion with John, but she
So-
laughed and said, no, you don't have a capital reserve fund,
So
you
it
just
took
got the money.
them 44 years to figure out that we didn't have one?
She apparently is the first person that decided to look and match up if they have the original, and I had asked her for some other original, see if we'd pass 4114A, which would allow the select board to sell property. This was in regard to the snowmobile trail. I asked her to research that for me. She did and said, no, you've never passed it. And apparently, while she was in there looking, made note of some other things.
Okay.
So just as an aside, that as well, I don't believe Karen has been back, but because we have not passed the warrant article that allows the select board to surrender or sell property, that needs to go on the warrant in 2025 as well before we can complete what you wanted to do with that town easement for a right-of-way.
Since we're on your thing, we're talking about the state. One of the things I learned at the Municipal Association legislative policy thing, it's most likely going to pass that the Conservation Commission members will now be elected, not appointed. Can you look into that and find
can.
out the?
And I did see that on the municipal bill tracker. I don't know what the status is
Interesting.
yet.
Yeah. And the other thing is, and I don't know if we asked you to do this or not, but if you could, Senate Bill 533, the one about the interest that Mr. Tappan brought up.
Yep.
It's my understanding that the House Fiscal Committee, I think it's Fiscal Committee, they deal with the money, is taking input. And so far, they've got overwhelming input that this is a bad idea, we need to stop this. So one of the gentlemen up there that's kind of in the, we need to stop this kind of thing, said if you can send something to them, and I don't know if the rest of the board is in favor of this, but I would suggest that we send a letter to them saying that we are in support of this bill not passing. But
I have a pre-written piece that I can email to all of you if you'd like, and edit it as you see fit. It's something that Town Administrator Selly in Durham started handing around about 8 weeks ago. Ben Jeans and I had both sent letters
oh, you did?
in opposition to the bill,
Okay.
as well as pretty much all the town administrators and town managers in the state. And
Okay.
the Dairy Select Board, or I can't remember whether they're a select board or a town council, were sort of leading the charge because they have a huge amount of money in PDIP and could see six-figure losses.
Yep. Okay.
The banking lobby is
Yes.
fighting this
Yep.
very hard, so,
And the Senate, what was it, passed it unanimously.
yeah.
So,
I did contact our senator.
Yeah, why did it pass it unanimously?
They cited banking and financial security concerns because PDIP is not, it's also, the PDIP funding is not restricted to New Hampshire investments. It's a standard investment that seeks to get the best return it can, whether it's in New Hampshire or not. And the banking lobby has been leading with, we have all this money, quite a bit of which is being invested outside of the state. We should keep it in New Hampshire, in local New Hampshire institutions.
thanks.
And that was really all the regular business I had. I have the consent agenda, I don't know if you want anything out of
The
it.
chief is,
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, Tom was not on the agenda before, but I know he had talked to the chair regarding the cruiser. Sorry, Tom. And I asked you twice before the meeting.
I just wanted to come before the board. I have a chance to buy a cruiser that was ordered from another municipality, and then they backed out. When you order a cruiser, they're about a year out now. So it was $37,562. It's another Charger. It's black. It's all-wheel drive, just like our other cars. I checked with Brenda and Taylor. There's plenty of money in the special duty account to pay for it.
how much is in the special duty account?
I didn't get a total. They just, Brenda said you've got plenty in there to buy it.
I'm gonna say it's in the mid-50s, but I can double check that.
Okay. And nothing else is planned coming out of that, correct?
No, and I checked with the fire chief and
I'm fine with it.
All right, sounds good to me.
thank you.
All right,
Sorry to
thank you.
get you, Tom.
That's all right.
Do you need a motion or anything?
I don't think so. It's usually the way the warrant article was written.
Okay.
Make one if you'd like, but paperwork has gone at this point, I believe. So.
All right, consent agenda, anything you'd like to take out or comment or questions?
MS 232, because it needs to be changed, correct?
I think
is that correct?
that's the change version.
This is the change.
Well, that is the change version?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
The money went from capital projects to capital reserve fund.
Okay.
Great, then I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Comments?
No.
There's a significant amount of signing due to the tax credits.
All those in favor?
Exemptions.
Aye.
I was happy to see all these exemptions that are coming through. Nice that people are taking advantage of that.
Denise and the town clerk have been working diligently to help people through this because virtually nobody shows up with the paperwork they need to apply. It's a 3 or 4 step process in general.
So all of these ones that say
Oh.
it is recommended that we approve the veterans tax credit, there's nowhere to sign.
The actual veterans credit application.
We just the application, okay, we don't sign the front page. Got it, thank
Just
you.
the
I was like,
application, and it's the second page of the
I
application
see
on
now.
most of those.
Thank you, I appreciate you.
Can I ask the chief a question. This thing about the state DOT, you will assign officers that are, what does it say? That are certified?
This is the bridge agreement.
Yes, yeah, so we have to take a flag of certification course.
Mhm.
The lieutenant is a certified instructor. If we put an officer out there who's not certified, then the contractor, the state will not pay the contractor for that officer.
Okay. You should probably send this.
Oh, okay, sorry, just getting it, about the third.
No, it's okay.
Moving along here.
While we're talking about road construction, I haven't received the dates yet for paving, but it is DOT's intention to pave from the Lee Traffic Circle to 152, and they're also going to pave Route 4 from the Lee Traffic Circle to the Epsom Traffic Circle, probably in early summer, so.
In the traffic circle to 152.
They've been doing the guardrails in the mornings now.
Yeah, no, I knew about the guardrails. Okay.
I suspect there will be increased traffic through the middle of town.
Just find their timing, they're gonna tear up the culvert in the road by West Mill Pond, and they just put brand new guardrails and they're gonna pave it.
They put a bridge in next year.
Right.
Is that guy from DOT coming back?
David Scott.
Yeah, that was a question.
He is, and he's actually been very cooperative. He's included me in all his emails. He's had a number of phone conversations with the Sawtells, as well as Sandwall Farm, and they've made some agreement as to what they can do as far as blocking the road, so farm stands aren't blockaded, or people don't think the road is closed and they can't get to farm stands.
Have you involved the Wellington boys too?
Yes, he did reach out to them, and I think they're okay with the operations as they stand now.
Okay.
My understanding is that pretty much all of their campsites are reservation-based, and they'll be able to let people know the road situation.
Okay.
This is all three of us. Nice. Those ones are good. That one's done. Do you want to see any of these, or did you look at them already? This is the link report.
Yeah.
I don't think that all of this isn't published.
Hopefully those are tagged correctly. The assistant town administrator did call me this afternoon to make sure that I had put the stickies on the signature lines.
Are you
This is the
sticking
race,
qualified?
this was all,
You
and
didn't
then the
check that out?
assessment, this was all on the thing too.
I'm
That's
just
what I like to say. That was all on the, online too, yeah. No, I read all that earlier. Using that one. This all done?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, old business?
I have none.
Anybody else have any business? New business?
No new business.
Okay. Then I move to enter a non-public session, New Hampshire RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2, A, C, and L.
Second.
Roll call vote. Mr. Bugby?
Yes.
Ms. Halter? Me? Yes. Mr. Rubin? Aye. All right. Leaving or coming in here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
paperwork to establish the account, to have the outside account connected to it. And it's set up that the outside account is a money market, we have checks for it, it's tied to an insured cash sweep. So, and we can submit a request to send it back to the
Must be fairly warm out because that room didn't cool down as much.
It's beautiful out. Fairly warm, just a little. Okay. Move to seal the non-public minutes.
Second?
Right, Mr. Bugby?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent? Ms. Hawthorne? Yes.
Just with regard to an update on credit cards and the plastic, we are set up now for all departments except the transfer station. The transfer station probably is going to use it second most to the town clerks. The difficulty we're having is internet connection. I've talked with Back Bay, our internet folks and network folks, and we're going to see about running a cable down to the bulky materials shack outside of the main transfer station building, and that's where the credit card acceptance is most needed when people drop off bulky items. Right now, the police department has theirs. I believe Jess is setting it up either tomorrow or the next day. She has her training and setup. Denise has a module and can do recreational fees, can reserve the park and town buildings, that sort of thing. It's actually going to work out really well for her because she holds deposits for use of the park, that type of thing, and rather than keep cash in envelopes in our lockbox and try to figure out who it goes back to, she can just hold that on their card. Karen has it for planning and zoning fees. I don't know if Bill's been trained, but Karen has and is quite comfortable with it. And Karen's card reader is wireless and can operate off a cell phone, so she can bring it to things like fundraising breakfasts at the Grange, or bring it to Little River Park at the town fair, that type of thing, and use it to collect entry fees and sign-up fees.
If Denise charges someone the fee for the lower park, and she just leaves it on hold, does that mean if she unreleases it, no one gets charged a fee? Because I know we're not allowed to pay the fees, and we also don't want them paying a fee.
Just to hold the deposit.
For a deposit.
I believe they get one fee for the actual rental or reservation of the
Okay.
Pavilion or the park. They don't get double dipped.
What about for people who don't actually pay the reservation fee, but we still take a deposit for the cleaning? Don't we do that for nonprofits? We don't usually charge them a reservation fee, but we still ask them to.
We do for anyone that's not a nonprofit, though.
We don't ask them for the cleaning fee, because I thought we did. Not the fee, but the cleaning hold.
For like the Boy Scouts, that type of thing, I don't believe we
Okay,
do.
all right.
I can check it, I may be mistaken.
Well, the Boy Scouts always leave a space better than they found it, so.
Typically, we don't, particularly for local.
Okay, so I want to make sure.
For out-of-town
Paying a fee.
nonprofits, Denise will typically bring those to the board and say, do you want to
Okay.
make some special accommodation? Which we have, you have in some instances. There are organizations that include Madbury, Durham, and Lee, and it's not just the Durham hockey team or just the Madbury clog dancers.
All right, any other questions about that?
You got a question from Mr. Tappan?
Mr. Tappan?
John Tappan, Chair of the Trustees of Trust Funds. This isn't a question, but in your consideration about Senate Bill 533, you should know of the public money that the trustees of trust funds are holding, which is over $4.3 million. We currently have $2.75 million in the investment pool. And until just over 2 weeks ago, it was the very best interest rate that we were getting, and it has slipped. It is now 1 point, that is 0.01% lower than the very best of all of our other accounts. And of course, the reason we moved money in there is because it was the best. And that is a little bit of apples and oranges because it essentially is a demand deposit. It would take us about 2 days to be able to write a check against that amount, whereas the one that is right now, we're earning 1 point better, that's a CD.
So not as liquid.
Definitely not, no.
What's the interest rate?
Currently, they're paying, the investment pool is at 5.36. As of this Friday, I do check it after every business day. And the other account is earning 5.37. And the only reason we got that is because they were competing with the investment pool when the investment pool was even higher.
Thank you.
From the Legislative Policy Committee, September something, we need to send somebody, if we want to, we don't have to. But also, it's still open, supposedly it terminates tomorrow, but members of the committee can still bring in proposals if there's anything that we want tweaked or changed in state law. So they're still accepting those. So I don't know if there's anything that we want to, propose to change. Also, at some point, they'll finalize what's going to be proposed in September, so that will come back to this group, and we can look at them, and then you can decide, are we in favor of this or not in favor of this? So when the meeting gets held, we know which way to vote, or someone needs to know which way to vote. So.
All right, so back to the roof. I'm gonna go back to talking about the quote for the library roof replacement. Does the library have any comments about replacing the roof, or are there future plans that would disrupt a new roof that you could maybe possibly share?
Yeah, no, I
Put
can.
you on the spot here.
Yeah, sorry. So Deborah Shanda, 18 Hill Farm Road. We were not aware that the library roof was in the condition that it's in.
Okay.
Mr. Bullock brought that to our attention, and we were very happy to have him go get the quote and to take care of that on our behalf. Do I know of anything that is going to be at odds basically with that?
Yeah.
No, I don't, because there's no further plans at this point in time. Of course, we have conceptual that we've tossed around over time, but there is absolutely nothing beyond what we're doing right now. So it is strictly the interior, started with the children, went to the rest of the adult section, and going to the basement, and that's all we have contracted at the moment, 100%. So
Okay, so you're not looking to do a vestibule or addition or anything in the next couple of years?
we would love to do a vestibule next, absolutely.
Okay.
But we would obviously not design something that would be at odds with a roof that was just applied.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that would be silly, so, yeah. We had some ideas out there, just like I said, conceptual,
Okay.
but they were by no means anything that we agreed upon. We just know that it's the next wisest thing to do, is to go there and do the ramp, do the vestibule, to have the airlock and a little more energy efficient. That's all.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, any other commentary about the roof? Thoughts?
Well, it sounds like it needs to be done, so
Yes,
let's
that's
just
what I got.
do it.
Okay,
You want the motion back?
that's what I got written down. I move to grant the Public Works Director permission to enter into an agreement with Innovative Roofing New Hampshire to replace the library roof for an amount not to exceed $19,580. Said funds to come to the town buildings capital reserve fund.
Second.
All in
Discussion.
favor?
Ooh,
Discussion?
yes. Can we have discussion? I'd like to ask Mr. Tappan when the roof was scheduled
I didn't
in the
see
financial
anything.
plan. You have that?
I have the copy that's currently on the website, and I didn't see it on there. I could have missed it because I can't search it.
Fiscal year 2028.
Okay, so it's like 4 years earlier than we anticipated.
Is it on,
Which
is
I-
it on the financial planning tool?
Yes. Not on the library capital reserve fund, but on the library building.
Oh, okay, I was looking at the wrong one. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, sir.
That one has items out to 2030.
Okay, any other questions?
So, okay, I'm confused now. If it's on that one, why are we taking it out of the town buildings and not out of the library building capital reserve fund?
Because the last I heard from the library plans, the library building capital reserve fund is going to be entirely spent, or essentially entirely spent.
That is true.
So,
It was on the Lee Library Building Capital Reserve Fund or the Lee Library Capital Reserve Fund? Or the Library Capital Reserve Fund? 'Cause
the
I
library
can't-
capital reserve fund has 2 line items on it.
Okay,
And
so
the
this
library
is,
building capital reserve fund, which is the,
Yeah.
in the financial planning tool, I think comes before the library capital reserve fund. And that has, I don't remember,
okay,
8 or 10 line items on it.
no, thank you. I'm just looking at the one that's published on our website, because that's the one I had. I know you emailed it to
That
us,
is-
I just was on this computer, and that was on, thank you, sir. That's why I missed it. You should. Thank you, that's not accurate.
Well,
But if there's no money there, we can't take it out of there.
there's money in there now.
I know, there is, this is not accurate, so I don't know why I'm looking at this. Let me look at the one that, last one that Mr. Travis has emailed us. This one's definitely not accurate.
So, what was in the CIP submission, and it's the same as what was in the FPT, is for the current year, there were 1, 2, 3, 4 line items. And then fiscal year 2025, exterior improvements and interior remodel. And fiscal year 2026, library accessibility improvements, entry vestibule and ramp, 175,000. And then 2027, building addition, 2028, outdoor programming space and roof replacement and solar installation, 2029, parking lot improvement, and 2030, energy efficiency improvements.
And the capital reserve fund assigned to that particular, all those things you just mentioned?
Correct.
What is the balance on that at the moment? Is the capital reserve fund associated with those particular items, correct?
Yeah, the capital reserve fund can't pay for those. It will pay for what's being spent this year, and it will then be reduced to close to zero. And the other fund, for which there is not an agent named yet, will be reduced to around 7,000 or so, depending on the interest.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Is that the new updated one?
This is the one that Mr. Tappan sent us in January, so I believe this is the most up-to-date one, yes. Would you like to look at it over my shoulder? This is their renovation phase one. so this includes reciting and painting. There's also phase 2 of that. I don't really know why there's so much there.
Can the Lee Library Building Capital Reserve Fund pay for replacing the roof? Sorry. Oh, question to you.
So this is a theoretical question of could that fund be used for that type of
Theoretically, I don't want
expense?
an official because you can't do an official, but yes,
Um,
theoretically.
An entire replacement of a roof is a capital expense.
Okay.
So that is the kind of thing that it has had listed for it.
That's gonna change all of those, man.
Mhm.
That's not, I think it's right by the end of this year, it's gonna be drained with designs, this, and this. I don't know, I'm not sure which of these things have been done and which haven't been done. Can we,
Instead of making a bad decision, let's make an informed decision.
okay,
I remove my second on that motion.
okay. So we're going to not talk about it tonight?
We can talk about it. I think we need to take a look in terms of what's in there and then make an informed decision next time, because we're kind of doing it.
Yeah, no, I understand. So, can the library trustees please look at the things that are supposed to be coming out of the Lee Library Building Capital Reserve Fund with the idea of what they got this year and figure out if there's extra money in that? Because there's a bunch of things listed here and I'm not sure which ones have already been paid for, which ones have been updated.
Where would I see a copy of what you're looking at?
Town administrator will provide you a copy.
Thank you.
I just want to make sure these numbers are accurate before we say that there's no money in there.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And I know that this number is not right, so you've got to fix that too.
I'll send that to you tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
So can we put this on the agenda for the next meeting on the 13th?
Yes.
But I don't think you have to ask Mr. Steve to come back. I don't think we need him.
Just as long as his quote is good for another whatever.
I think there may be some issue. I don't know this for sure, but there was some, if they're working here, they'll just roll over. And I think that was part of the consideration of the pricing.
Well, they're all done here, so as far as I know, right?
They are.
Yeah.
Are they gone?
They are.
They're gone. Okay, never mind.
They did a very nice job.
Just let the DPW director know.
Okay.
So I've been getting texts.
But he wants to know, he wants to know, he
You're
wants to
getting
know.
texts.
They want to do it now.
Can you also, I don't know if you want to do it in the meeting or afterwards, can you have a conversation with Deb Shanda about what we talked about? regarding-
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, so they are up to date in terms of what our plans are.
Andrew, do you have any availability tomorrow, Deb?
Sure,
Okay, why don't I reach out to you tomorrow and
absolutely.
go over stuff?
Yeah, I got a couple things in the morning, but yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah,
Okay.
Lots, definitely the afternoon.
Right, so we're good. All right, I move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
I,
Eventually go. I seem to think it did, but I don't know. I'm not for it now.
I'll give you a
Just like
call
popped up
sometime
my ear.
after the meeting, is it?
Yes.
Start trying to reach you, or let me know before you.
I mean, just I'm told before. Because it seems to
Have to do
think it went
ARPA reporting.
That's it.
after it didn't.
I don't know.
Yeah, it didn't.
Yeah, it's gonna be easier.
it's more information.
That's otherwise, so before or after that?
Okay, I'll probably call you early afternoon.
That's fine, yeah. It'll be
And just,
I don't believe.
simplest thing, board
I don't believe that.
exercise the mediation option under the contract.
My name is DJ, right?
Okay,
Actually face.
so was that what was behind?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a little more.
They don't-
detail.
the list of where they would.
Sure.
But
Yeah,
that's-
that's what we do. And then
Yeah,
last
okay,
year,
that's great.
this, as far as I know, is the one from.
Great.
So these were the deposits that. So plan deposits are calculated into the right number.
Yeah, we should.
And he's just.
I didn't send that one over to you.
Well, I did see it, but I think it was
Right.
not would have been presented.
It's not, like I said,
It's
it's
pretty
pretty
little.
results.
It's very,
Whenever you
yeah.
start checking them.
I will though, in
I'm just gonna
the,
shut the camera off first, I'm sorry.
oh, you're sorry.
On the way.
Thank you, and I'm sorry, I had to keep getting you up